Welcome to another video. I'm going to start on page 36, but before I do, I just want to emphasize the importance of organizing your site properly. So if you take a look over here, you're going to see the folders that we created: images, menus, and resources. Then we have a style CSS. Now that really should be in its own folder, as well as about, contact, and events. The only thing is I've addressed on more than one occasion is the index file should be the only file inside of your root directory. Since I'm going to follow the book, I'm mentioning it to you, but for right now, we're going to leave it the way the book has it in here. So moving on to page 36, we're going to create a hyperlink. There are 4 different ways to do it, 3 for Windows and actually 4 if you have a Mac. You can do it however way you want to do it. I'm going to use the point to file more often than not. The original book tells you to use the insert in there so you can add some extra things. You have a dialog box open. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up index. And I'm going to work in code view. It's so much easier for me to see what I'm doing in code view. You do not have to do it, but I highly recommend it. You do not have to understand the code to work in code view, because all we're really going to do is select and copy. So for right now, I have a home button. Now, the book is going to tell you to click up here and double click on home. And that's okay. You can do that over there, and that's fine. I also want to show you how to fix this if something is moving. So let me show you how to do that. If you move a file and you get this, most of the time it's because it can't find it. So the easiest way to fix this is just click on it, and even though the link is there, it's still showing that it can't find it. Once you click on OK, it comes back. So do not panic if you get that. Just double click on it and browse to where it is. So right now we're going to do what the book tells us. Then I'm going to show you my preferred way. So I'm going to double click on home, and it's selected. I'm going to go into code view just to show you what's selected in there. You can use it by selecting the LI, or you can just click on this. The results are going to be the same. So I'm going to go to insert, which is the toolbar here. You can also use the one up top here. Just click on insert. Make sure you're on HTML and you'll find hyperlink. What we're going to do here is we're going to browse to the index file, which is right here, and click on that. So I'm going to give everybody about 10 seconds to try to do that if you're following along with me. I just did number 4 on page 37. I'm moving on to number 5, which is the browse. Then we navigated in number 6 to the index file. And then on number 7 is the target. The 2 that you need to be concerned with are self and blank, but more blank than anything else. If you do not put in self, it will default to self. We're going to put in self, and that just means show the new window in the same window. So if you open up a file, you're going to show it in the same window. It's going to be replaced in there. If you choose blank, which you will do every single time that you go off your website, then you're going to choose blank so that it opens up a new window and you do not have to worry about somebody clicking the X and taking you off the site. Number 8, it tells us to put Kinetic Bistro homepage in the title. Now, the book does not capitalize the H and the P. I just like it capitalized. I just think it looks nicer. But whatever you decide to do, that's fine. However, of course, Kinetic and Bistro need to be capitalized. Then we're going to click OK. That takes care of that in here. I'm going to click the split button like it tells us so you can see what's happening. Notice that the LI link and the /LI, the closing LI tag, are the same, but now it put in an A, which is an anchor, and an href. And that basically means it's a link or a hyperlink, depending upon what you want to call it, to some other file or picture. And in this particular case, it's index. We put in the title over here, and the target is self, and it's going to be affected by the text home. Then the /A is the closing A link, and then, of course, the /L is the list item link. I'm going to go into code view now for the rest of it and show you a trick which you may or may not like. But first thing I'm going to do is click on About, and you can double click here if you like, or you can click on the I. Now, the advantage of clicking on the LI is that if you have more than one word, it's going to select it all. If you have just one word, double clicking on it is fine. Now, also, I want to point out I'm not a big fan of all capital letters in menus. I just think it's a little bit harder to read. I recommend that you change it to capital A and then little B-O-U-T. Same thing with menus, events, and contact. When you turn in the books, all those things are fine. When you do your specific project, then I'm going to give you some guidelines that I need you to follow. And they're good guidelines over here. So we've done that. We're going to now navigate through the point to click and a point to file. Now we have a little dilemma here because we don't have our files open up. You try clicking on the files over there, nothing happens. So what you're going to do is hit the escape key and click on files. A lot of times people don't like to have this, the insert and files in there. Again, it's up to you. Just hit the escape key to get rid of what you need. Click on files. Now it will open up the individual folders, but it won't open up another tab. And you'll see that when we do the menus. So now I have About. I'm just going to point. This is called point to file. And I'm just going to go right to About. Now make sure that your little arrow is on the file, and you'll see it actually gets filled in here. As far as the menus are concerned, I'm going to double click on this. And I'm going to use the browse. And again, the browse is the same thing. We're doing menus. So actually, let's go back and we'll do the events that way. I wanted to show you how you can open up a file. So we'll click on events. That takes care of that. And let's go back to menus. We'll do the point to file. And notice there is no menus in here, but once you move over to the menus folder, it will open up for you, and then you can point right to the menu one. That takes care of that one, and our last one is contact. And we're done. Now, I recommend that you save your work every few minutes or maybe every minute. I've already had Dreamweaver crash on me through GoBerry. I know that some of you have had the same experiences. I lost some work yesterday while I was working, trying to make a tutorial for you, and I lost everything. I'm working with Do It to resolve the problem. So for now, just please make sure that you're constantly saving all of your work. So we've taken care of all of the links, which is on pages 40 and 41. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back into design view and change it to live, and that you can see we have what it looks like. Now the links won't work, but you can see basically what's going on over here. So that's all in that page 41. If you want to show something in a browser, the default browser will be F12, which will be Internet Explorer. So I'm going to hit F12 as a shortcut, and that's going to see what our website looks like. If you get this Adobe Acrobat Create PDF 2-bar add-on from Adobe Systems, you can either choose it. You should not get it. I'm working locally in here just to make Adobe happy. I'm going to enable it. And so now we have this over here. You can see these things should work. So if I click on About, it takes me to the About. Now again, these are issues here that we're going to take care of. So you're going to see, not to panic. This is a result of potentially not using the update for your images or some other file issue. So it's not a problem. We're going to take care of it as we open up the other ones. So I'm going to open up the about. It also could be because the file's not saved, but since it's not open, it really doesn't need to be saved. So I'm going to click on about, and let's see what we have here. Okay, we have the same dilemma. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click on this. And eventually I will be able to get to it. Okay, finally, thank you. So I'm going to click on my browse to files and click on Kinetic, and boom. Same thing with this. Now, I'll be honest, I kind of purposely created this for you so that you would not panic and you can see exactly what it was. Did you notice in the properties, it did not say images? But our default image file is going to be images, so that will help. Now, again, we're going to save this, and we're going to open up all the other files just to make sure. Again, we have the same thing. So notice it says source is Kinetic. Click on the browse. Make sure that you find it. You'll see it here. Click on Kinetic. Boom. And same thing here. Click on that. Click on OK. Boom. Make sure that you save it. We'll do events. Click on Kinetic. We'll get there. Let's click here and let's go back here. Just click one time. If you double click, it gets confused. That takes care of that. So we'll save all these things. So we have about, contact, and events. About, contact, and events. Let's check out our menu. And menu works. And menu 2 works. So let's close all of these files here. And we're going to leave the index open. So this is a good time to save everything, which I just did. Okay, I've just finished 41. We've done the live view, and we're going to go back down over here. If you click here, you'll see this blue. That means it's live view. I'm not a big fan, again, of editing in live view. I'm more of a design views, but I'm going to double click here, and we're going to copy everything here. Again, I can't say this enough. I highly recommend that you work in design view. Notice we don't have the properties opened up. So we're going to open that up later. What we're going to do here is we're going to highlight a word or select a word, whatever term you want to use is okay with me, and we're going to make it bold, and we're going to make it italic. So you see down over here is bold. That will make it bold. That will make it italic. So we're in live view and there's no properties, but we can click this hyperlink over here and we can create a hyperlink, which I'm going to do. And then you have to enter the link. So you're going to have to manually type in http:// www.againsttheclock.com. Hit the enter key, and we're done. I'm going to go back into design view so I can show you a problem. We're now back in here, and look at the hyperlink. Everything looks fine there, but the target is blank. So what we need to do is change it from blank to blank, which means we click on the arrow here and blank. Again, blank just means that open it up in a blank browser window or a new browser window, whatever term you want to use, and you don't have to worry about somebody clicking and exiting your site. Now what we're going to do is we're going to copy the UL tags, which is the home menu, the about, events, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to save everything here. I'm going to do this in code view. If you want to do it in live view, that's okay with me. So I have all these links here. You can see what it's done. I want to select from here to here. I can just click and drag down. However, is a lot easier way to do it. I'm just going to click here. And down at the bottom, you'll see UL, you see nav, main body div. These are the things that come from over here. If I click on the UL, it selects everything within those two UL tags. So we're going to click on copy. Then we're going to go to all these files here, and we're going to do the menus file. So we'll start with about. And again, we need to replace it. So I will click on the UL again and take care of that. Save that file. And I'll open up contacts. Click over here and paste that file. Now I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to click on events, only I'm just going to click here and not select it. I'm going to click on paste, and notice it just added all that stuff. So we don't want to do that. So if that happens, just click on undo. Down over here, you'll need to click on refresh. When you do things in code view, just click on refresh. It'll show up in the bottom. Let's click on UL, click on paste, and save. So now we have that. We'll do the menus, the same thing. This is going to cause a problem, which we'll talk about in a minute. Click on paste. And click on paste. Again, we're going to save everything. So we're done. All right. I'm on page 45, and I'm going to show you a problem. So let's go back to the index file. These links tell me here the index file should be in the same folder as the actual index file. It's the same thing, so that's why the index is in the index. The about is in the about folder. The menus is in the menu folder. The events is in this folder, and the contact is in the same folder. So everything looks great here, no problems. Now let's go to the menu. And we have the exact same thing. If I try to find the index file, it's going to look in this directory. It's not there. Same thing with the menus. Same thing with about, events, and contact. The only difference with the menus is going to be looking for a folder called menus, which doesn't exist. So I'm going to do the first one the way the book tells you to do that. I'm not, again, a big fan of this, but I'm going to show it. If you take a look on page 45, it gives you the explanation about relatives pass, which is basically relative to the document, and absolute pass, which is when we hard-coded a document that's going off the site over there and gave it an exact address. So I'm on 45. I'm finishing that. It tells you on number 3 to type in a ... What that means is to go one directory below, just as what you have the images here. So it's going to want to do a ... Okay, my personal opinion is the more things you type in, the more chances of error. For instance, we typed in www.againsttheclock.com. Well, maybe there isn't 2 T's. Maybe we can't spell, because I know I can't. Maybe you spelled HTTP wrong, or maybe it's HTTPS. What I normally do is I go to the site and copy the URL from the window, and then I go right back in there and paste it in there. So we'll do that another time. All right, so let's go back and do the about in here. instead of doing it the way they told us to do it, notice that there is no ... slash. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually point to the file that's here, and let's see what happens. Notice it put it in for us. Now we have menus. If we try to go to the menu file, again, it's not going to work because there is no menu subdirectory. So let's just click over here. You could delete it, and let's just, boom. Notice it took care of that. Events is here, and contact is there. So that looks good. We just did the one file here. So now what we need to do, let's just copy and paste that into the other menu one. So we'll click on that. We'll click on copy. We'll go to menu. Notice none of that has been changed. And we'll click on paste, and we're going to save everything. So that takes care of all of that. On page 47, it talks about the things that we did and the different files that we created. So I'm going to end our video here, and I'm going to pick up on page 48, create a separate video for email links. So have a wonderful day.